Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. I'm Annie Simpson. I'm a member of our board at this Unitarian Universalist Church in Reston. Whether you are on Zoom or if you're here in the church, please let us be sure that you understand. We are really glad you're with us, and we hope you come back. No matter how old you are, how young you are, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, however you identify, or whomever you love, please know that you are welcome here. You're welcome in this place, whether you are attending the service in person or online. Congregants who are present in person, let's take a moment, get ready for it. We're going to wave hello to our online participants, and it's to this camera here. Hello. Thank you. Am I good? Hope so. Okay. Sometimes there's a delay and we don't sync it right, so they saw you today. I have a suite of announcements. Please bear with me. Think of them as Facebook posts. They're short and they're important, unlike some Facebook posts, right? So the first Sunday Parents and Caregivers Gathering will be in this library downstairs, which is the back corner of the building downstairs, right after the service. Childcare and food will be available. Donations for Cornerstone's Thanksgiving boxes, well, it's not too late. They're still being accepted. Links to the sign-up forms are on flyers in both foyers, that way and that way. Who's coming to the auction on November 8th? Good on you. I hope to get my act together and be there too. We'll see. Our biggest fundraiser of the year is the auction, and it's almost here. It's this Saturday. You can bid on great items, enjoy fellowship events, and share a lively evening with your UU Reston community, all while supporting the church. So whether you can come in person or donate an item, please participate. Maybe both. Visit the new auction website. There's a link in the e-blast that was sent out. Please RSVP, donate, or learn more. If you need help or have a bottle of wine to contribute, stop by after the service to connect with the auction committee. We can't wait to see you there. Please save the date. UUCR's 21st annual alternative gift market. That's 25 years we've been doing this alternative gift market. We are pioneers. So it is coming up on Saturday, December 6th. It's always the first Saturday in December. It's right here in the sanctuary from 10 until 2, and we're celebrating and hope that you come and celebrate with us. Let's turn a quarter century of compassion into action. Please see Denise Kerwin. Will you wave, Denise? I know you're here. If you need details, I can also help you if you have questions about the alternative gift market. This Thursday, we have films on Thursday called Off We Go. It's November 6th at 7 p.m. right here. Join us with snacks, see the film, and have some good company. Please note that right after the service today, there will also be coffee with a minister in the boardroom, which is in this wing, that room in the corner of the building. It's designed for visitors and those who are new to the congregation who would like to learn more about UU Reston and Unitarian Universalism in general. My final announcement is one that is a recurring one, but we have for many years led a hypothermia prevention project where we provide meals one night each week during the winter months for about 40 adults who are spending the night at the North Country Drop-In Center in Reston. Every Friday from the 1st of December through the 30th of March, we provide meals that include a main dish, a side dish, a beverage, dessert, and fruit, and you can sign up for any one of those things. An orientation to the program will be available for those who will be provided on November 13th. at 7 p.m. in the boardroom. A Zoom link is also available if you need training remotely. For more information, please contact Greg Rata. That's it. Those are the announcements. Quite a few today. Sorry about that. So now, I have to shuffle through. Here we go. Are you ready to center for worship? So, take a few deep breaths. And now that you're centered, take a step back and please silence your electronic devices. Let us enter our time of worship together as we enjoy this morning's prelude. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. That music was written by and performed by Alan Kramer. Good morning. I'm Reverend Aileen, and it is my honor to be your minister this morning. Our opening words are by the Reverend Tess Baumberger. O divine spirit, healer of our hurts, consoler of our sorrows, vibrant light of happiness, birther of all life and gentle way of death, hear our prayer. We raise our hearts to you, as do the ancient redwoods rooted in the ground, swaying in the wind. We praise and thank you for our lives, gifts of body and essence, strength to bear life's burdens, grace to dance life's joys. We praise and thank you for our lives, gifts of eyes and heart that fill with beauty smiling, or with pain and sadness weeping. We praise and thank you for our lives, gift of ears to hear words of grace and wisdom, to listen to and lighten the burdens of others. We praise and thank you for our lives, our voices to sing out praises, to speak my truths and visions, to share ourselves with others. We praise and thank you for our lives, gifts of all our senses, rhythms of our heartbeat, rise and fall of our breathing, the will to live with passion, serenity, and joy. Spirit, guide us to a deeper knowing of your presence in the world. Show us the fuller meanings of the patterns of our years. Help us regard ourselves and others with eyes of calm compassion. Teach us to learn patience with our failings. Help us accept the mold and fashion of our lives through the years. In the names of all who perceive your transcendent presence in trees and brooks and mountains, in work and play and resting, in all moments and places in between. Amen.
Good morning. Our opening hymn today is from our new UU virtual hymnal. It's a new arrangement of the traditional text that many of you probably know, For the Beauty of the Earth. So I believe there's going to be, excuse me, a slide with the lyrics for you up here. The lyrics are also on the back of your order of service. This is a very different arrangement from the traditional in that it's more of a meditative chant. So we're going to learn the 3 parts. They're quite short and simple. And Ken and Maren are up here to help teach and lead. So the first part, we're all going to sing together. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. That's just the spoken rhythm. So would you like to try that with us? We're just going to speak it. Ready? Here we go. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. That was perfect, and it's all performed on one pitch. Here we go. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Yes, so we're just going to do that one more time. And even though it's just one pitch, we're going to think of it almost like a beautiful melody in our minds. So ready, here we go. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. That was beautiful. So part 2, which Maren is going to lead, starts with the word grateful, and it goes like this. Grateful we raise, grateful we praise. Here we go. Grateful we raise, grateful we praise, grateful we raise, grateful we praise. Oh, thank you, Maren. And part 3, this is the last thing you have to learn, goes, so we raise our hymn of praise, so we raise our hymn of praise, so we raise our hymn of praise. Excellent. Okay, so the way this is going to work is the first half of this side, more or less, of the room, you all are going to sing part 1 with Ken, okay? So you've got it a little more easy because you're not going to do anything else. And the first half of this side of the room is going to follow Maren. But we're all going to sing part 1 together, and then when we add part 2, you guys will join Maren, and the rest of us will all be singing part 1. I'm going to go to the back of the room, and those of you in the back can sing part 3 with me. So we're going to go everyone part 1, we're going to add part 2, we're going to add part 3, then we'll go back to 2 parts, and then we'll all end together. I know you can do it. And we're going to be grateful to have this moment together, to experience this music in a meditative kind of chant-like way. Okay, so here we go from the beginning. We're going to start everybody singing together.
That was beautiful, with the entire congregation participating. Good morning. I'm Sterling Pilette. Welcome to our church. Our chalice lighting reading today is called Everyday Blessings by Reverend Julia Corbett Heimeyer. We come into this sacred space, this hallowed hour, made sacred by our presence and intention here. We come with deep gratitude for everyday blessings, for the dependable changing of the seasons as they follow one another, for smiles and waves and spoken greetings, for being with others in worship, for babies and puppies and kittens, and for the wisdom of the old. These are all everyday blessings that sustain us every day.
Here at UUCR, we have a tradition of singing our covenant together every Sunday morning. Love is the spirit of this church. We remain seated to sing our covenant. If you are here today for the very first time, we invite you to accept this song as our blessing to you.
Good morning. Now is the time for all ages, so if anyone is feeling young of body or young of spirit, I invite you to come forward. And welcome, welcome, so good to see you. And we have a wonder box, and I wonder what might be inside it. And I think Vivian is going to help us with that today. I wonder what we might find. And what do you have there? Can you show that to everyone? It's a little bird. Okay, thank you very much. And you can put it down. Our story today is based on the story The Ungrateful Sparrow by Fawa Haidur. And we've changed the bird a little bit to match that bird. Once, in the dark and dense forest, there was a flock of chickadees. One of those birds was a young chickadee who was always grumpy. Something was always wrong with the nest, the food, the weather. No matter how comfortable and cozy it was, he was always complaining. Hey, you want to take that to your sister? Okay. He just complained and complained, and the other chickadees ignored him. They tried to stay away from him because of his complaining. So one day, he decided to fly away and find a new place. He flew and flew, and if you want to pretend to be the bird and fly, you can. He flew, and then he saw a lush garden full of plump berries, savory seeds, and maybe some pumpkins. And he went down, and he decided to make it his new home. He built a nest in a tree, and he was very, very happy. He had everything he wanted. But after a little while, his greedy attitude came back. And he began to think, the trees aren't giving me enough berries and nuts. And he began to peck on the trees, and peck, peck. Then the farmer noticed this, and he was worried about his trees. They might be harmed by all that pecking. So the farmer got a trap, caught the chickadee, and put it in a cage. The poor chickadee had lost its freedom and began to become sad. He missed his home with its nest and its family and friends. Several days passed, and he was still trapped in that cage. Became sadder and sadder. One day, an older chickadee flew by and noticed this. And he asked the smaller chickadee what had happened. The older listened to the story and then said, when you're grateful, you will have more. But if you're not grateful, you will lose what you have. The chickadee said, that's wise. That's what I've experienced, and I think I've learned my lesson. Hearing that, the older chickadee flew to the farmer, and in his own way, he asked the farmer to let this young chickadee go. The farmer did this, and the chickadee flew quickly back home, where he was welcomed with open wings. He apologized to his family and friends, and he became a better bird. He had changed because of this experience. He was grateful for everything he had, for the nest, for food, for his companions. And he had learned that happiness comes from inside, not for the things we have outside. The best gift of all, he discovered, is gratitude. And may we each be like this little chickadee and learn to be grateful for what we have and all the small, amazing things that are around us. Today, we'll be exploring this further up here and in religious education. Anyone in 12th grade or younger is invited to leave with us now as we sing Go With Joy.
It is now the time in our service for the sharing of joys and concerns so that no one ever has to hold them alone. If you are joining us remotely this morning, you may wish to light a real or virtual candle to mark what is in your heart as members of the in-person congregation place stones in the water here in the sanctuary. If those of you at home would like to share what is in your heart today on the congregational chat on the screen, please write to all attendees, and please remember that what you share will be public. Those at home may then read others' joys and concerns shared in the chat, and then enter into your own time of reflection and prayer. So I invite those in the sanctuary to come forward and put your stones in the water for your joys and concerns. Let us be one in prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love that so faithfully animates our creation, we are grateful for this community in times of both joy and sorrow. We hold in our hearts this morning all who are facing any hardship or difficulty, for those who are grieving or facing injury or illness to themselves, their friends, or their loved ones, and for those who have experienced this week profound experiences of joy. In particular, this morning, we hold in our hearts and prayers all those people who will be practicing their right to vote this week. So, reminder, if you haven't already, please vote this week. And also, in particular this morning, we hold in our hearts and prayers all the victims of Hurricane Melissa. May relief come quickly. For them, we light this candle. Let us take a moment of silence.
As a self-funded church, UU Reston relies on the generosity of its members and its friends to fund daily operations and to ensure that our church and its resources are here for us and for others, now and into the future. Pledges and donations support our worship and music programs, our religious education programs, programs for members and friends. It funds community outreach, and it funds connections to Unitarian Universalism in this nation. We now invite you to support the work of UU Reston by making your donation to the collection plate if you are here in the sanctuary, or at the link on the slide and in the chat box if you are attending virtually. Thank you in advance for your generosity and for your support of our beloved spiritual community.
Thank you, Handbell Choir. There's just another reminder to vote this week if you haven't already. There used to be this paper distributed for free called something like Positive News. It was a small newspaper, not more than 10 pages total, and had a national distribution. I think it was published out of Seattle. All the articles were in it were about good things, projects, and charitable works that people across the country were doing. And so for this brief moment while reading it, you could think, oh, despite all the bad that's going on in the world, there are also all these people doing wonderful things to make the world a slightly better place. Another publication that just ceased publication, Yes Magazine. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Yes Magazine. It also focused its attention on ideas and projects around the world that were shaping the world for the better. And you could read these periodicals, and even if something in the news seemed bad, at least there, we knew that people were countering at least some of those bad things, and perhaps some of them were countering them successfully, not just thinking about solutions, but actually bringing some of them to fruition in small and sometimes not so small ways. And for a moment after reading these publications, there's a moment of calm, of gratitude that people somewhere were doing these wonderful things. It makes me sad that neither of these publications still exist. Yes Magazine still exists in archival form, online. I know that I find myself lately doom scrolling much more than I should. These forays into the news are depressing sometimes, and they are not necessarily good for me. And it's not a surprise. Negative and scary news is meant to keep us in an almost constant state of fear. That fight, flight, and freeze that we feel constantly triggered so that our brains cannot function correctly. I am not saying that we shouldn't be aware of the news, that we shouldn't keep track of what's going on in the world around us. We should. But we need to counter that almost constant fear response with something else, so that we can creatively think about what we might be able to do that goes beyond that initial response of fear. We need to calm our minds. The other day I came home from the church and I had spent too much time thinking of and contemplating the state of the world. And my sister was in the kitchen and she related to me some positive thing that had happened to her during the day. And I don't even remember what it was, but I remember the feeling in my body. For the first time that day, I relaxed. I once went to a Dharma talk given by the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh. He took an orange and he showed us how to peel it for 20 minutes. The point of the exercise was to truly be present with the orange, this simple, small fruit. But it was also a practice of gratitude, looking at wonder at this everyday item which we take for granted, and most of the time just peel and eat much too quickly without a second thought. Gratitude is about stopping and being present with the everyday. We forget that we have so much, and most of the time we take it for granted. I personally sometimes lay awake at night and think of those things I am most grateful for, and two things always spring to my mind immediately. Because I'm in bed, I'm thankful that I have a warm bed to sleep in. And one of the other things that I'm always grateful for, and most of the time take for granted, is indoor plumbing. And a lot of people in the world simply don't have this luxury. I have heat, I have air conditioning. I go to the grocery store and the shelves are stocked with all manner of food products. And I can afford anything I need. Many of us can, all the time. I do not have to worry where my next meal is coming from. I have a reliable car and public transportation near me. I can get almost anywhere I want to go. As I come into work, I drive past, this time of year, the most beautiful trees. And when I sit in my office, I can look out in awe at the woods behind the building. And I have deep gratitude that I have this office and that I have this job. I am constantly aware that not everyone has these small things that every day I take for granted. And that doesn't mean I shouldn't be profoundly grateful for them. The great spiritual writer Henry Nouwen once wrote, "The choice for gratitude rarely comes without some real effort, but each time I make it, the next choice is a little easier, a little freer, a little less self-conscious. Because every gift I acknowledge reveals another and another, until finally even the most normal, obvious, and seemingly mundane event or encounter proves to be filled with grace." In a world that gives us so many choices, particularly in the US, we simply click a few buttons to have whatever we want delivered to our doors. But does that ability make us more grateful? Or does it simply make us take more for granted and make us frustrated when we can't get what we want when we want it? When a package is delayed, when the overnight option isn't available, instead of feeling grateful that we can get what we want, we get angry because we can't have it when we want it. The more we take for granted, the less grateful we become. The writer G.K. Chesterton once wrote, "Gratitude is happiness doubled by wonder." I believe that's true. I believe that gratitude begins with wonder, being able to see the world over and over and over again with beginner's mind. I have a friend, Jackie, who's an artist, and every day she used to go out on walks. She was an avid walker, and while she walked, she would look around her, picking up found objects as she walked, a leaf, a piece of paper, a feather, a dead, dried flower, and she would incorporate these things into her art. Her studio was filled with these found objects, all these things that other people just passed by and didn't notice, that were just background. She took the time to stop and notice, to really see what was in her path and find beauty there. I have bits of her work on my desk at home, buttons encapsulating dried flowers, a feather, a seed. She was able, as the poet William Blake wrote, to see the world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. The outcome of this kind of appreciation and wonder in the small things is what we often called being surprised by joy. Joy, writes UU minister Galen Gingrich, joy is the reward for gratitude. He goes on to write, joy often finds expression as beauty in situations of great ugliness, compelling poetry in response to profound loss, sublime music in response to senseless tragedy, beautiful art in response to desperate wickedness, human harmony in the face of natural disasters. These expressions of joy emerge when our awareness has produced a deep sense of gratitude. By not shielding ourselves from the pain of what's present, we open ourselves up to the joy of what's possible. By our example, we invite others into the experience of joy as well. I've done a lot of memorial services in the last couple of years, and the main thing that I notice is how grief is also tied to gratitude. Grief of the loss of a loved one, coupled with the gratitude and joy of having been able to share their lives. When our world seems so out of control, and it seems like the forces of evil are winning the day, and it seems like there is nothing left to be grateful for, it is absolutely the right time to practice gratitude, to find wonder in the world, to be surprised by joy. Gratitude is the antidote to fear and cynicism, which may hold us too tightly in their grip. Fear and cynicism paralyze us into thoughtless action or apathetic inaction. They keep us trapped into endless powers of violence begetting violence. Instead, gratitude, wonder, and joy open us up to other possibilities, to the response of art and dance and humor to counter the ugliness of the violence. Gratitude, by its very nature, is rooted in connectedness and relationship. Remember that our well-being is tied to the well-being of others, even those we may not know. One simple gesture of kindness, even to a stranger, can elicit brief moments of reciprocal joy and gratitude. When we feel helpless in the face of growing cruelty, which is based in fear and hate, we can counter it in our own lives with moments of gratefulness, kindness, and joy. All these are radical acts of resistance. Amen, and blessed be.
Our closing hymn is number 398, To See the World in a Grain of Sand. This feels more like a prayer to me, so why don't we remain seated while we sing. And we're going to listen to Diane play it one time through first, and then we will sing it twice.
Our benediction this morning is by the Reverend Michelle Collins. Our worship ends, but the practicing of noticing continues. May you discover treasures hiding in tomorrow's ordinary moments. The warmth of morning coffee, a stranger's kindness, the miracle of lungs that breathe without asking. Go forth, gathering what is already here.
We have now come to the end of our service, and it's time to extinguish our chalice. We will extinguish this flame, but not the light of hope and truth, nor the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. We carry these flames forth in our hearts until we are together again.
Now we're going to sing the traditional For the Beauty of the Earth. As our postlude today, it is hymn number 21. Please rise in body or spirit and join us. Thank you so much for coming today. I have a lovely afternoon.